All right, folks, we're a couple minutes early here before the close. I kind of wanted to just watch some of this price action going into the close. The futures market is down a little bit, not really of too much concern. Tether still in this what looks to be kind of like a bear flag, I would say, with this leg down that we made here. We had like an ABC move back up, and now we're testing the trend line here. I mean, yeah, the daily here is still implying that it's long. Well, I have some mixed signals here, but I would actually trust the HA candles here on the short that printed here on the 3rd of July. I am looking for a move for Tether back down to the bottom of this range. And ultimately, we are looking for this major move back down to the 3.82% region. All right, now this could take some time. This is going to result in Bitcoin and other crypto assets making major moves. And so, yeah, we're going to probably see this hopefully soon. I mean, I would say in the next few weeks that we get that breakdown on Tether. We're printing here. You guys can see we clipped short here on the 2-week on Tether. That's pretty promising. That's a high time frame. The monthly here is also clipping short as well. So high time frames all on the momentum waves here actually point down. So this is going to eventually break down. It's just a patience game, unfortunately, right? It's pointing basically the next like 2 to 3 weeks, I think. So I would say going into end of July into August here, we're going to see some moves in these markets. Summers are usually kind of dead for most markets, but not this summer, I guess. S&P made new all-time highs, and we should see some follow-through on some of that action here on the crypto side. We just printed a 2-week candle here on Bitcoin, bullish engulfing, just back up to the top of this range, but yeah, very nice. It clearly looks like a consolidation before a major move out of here. Again, we are just consolidating up here. 2-week RSI just sitting bullish 65 on the RSI. And it just looks very bullish. That's just all it looks like right now. I can't really say anything other than that. We're going to get dips. We're going to get pullbacks. We're going to get sideways. We're probably just going to chop around here for a bit. We're at 3-day resistance, but kind of like a nothing burger candle there, I would say. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests of this resistance. We keep testing it with making higher lows. So the more times you test a resistance, the more likely it is going to break it. All right. And so that's it. Like if we were testing support over and over again, I would say the opposite. The opposite would be true, right? Support eventually breaks, just like resistance eventually breaks. All right. All right. So that's really it for Bitcoin. I have nothing really else to say other than it's just a waiting game. You can see we got a 3-day buy signal that came in here. Confirmed. It's confirmed by signal on 3-day chart. All right. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance here at 65.29. This includes stablecoins. Yeah, we're going to get to ETH here in a second. This is actually the segue into ETH because we want to look at Bitcoin dominance here as Bitcoin dominance maybe gets weaker, and we could see altcoins maybe start to pick up some steam against Bitcoin. All right. So just this structure right here, we want to see this kind of take out the 62.5% region so that we could eventually actually break this rising wedge structure on Bitcoin dominance. And that will definitely ignite an alt season. But until then, it's just going to kind of be choppy, right? We're not going to really see lots of assets really outperform Bitcoin. You're going to always have a few that do, whatever. There's always something that does. But I'm talking about like the blue chip altcoins, mostly really just Ethereum. We're looking at Ethereum, okay? Ethereum is the one to really pay attention to right now, and maybe also Solana, because Solana's been outperforming ETH the whole cycle, right? So we're gonna go look at the ETH Bitcoin chart. We mentioned in, I believe it was April, that we bottomed out here on the ETH Bitcoin ratio. We're looking at the monthly time frame, and we came down to the range low. We have oversold candles here on the monthly. It's never been this oversold against Bitcoin. You know, we can still see that this is ticking up. It hasn't crossed the 20 line yet for a monthly buy signal, but we have, yeah, the 2 week gave us the signal, and like we can see the momentum is still extending, and the 3 week here is just starting its move against Bitcoin. So this might take some time, maybe a couple more months on the ratio here. But yeah, I mean, just a simple way to look at this would just be like, well, what happens if ETH Bitcoin doesn't really break out against Bitcoin? We just maybe get to this trend line here. All right, that would be the first major region I'd be looking at, which would be around 5%. So that's basically a double up against Bitcoin, right? That's pretty significant on a ratio trade, right? So that would be really the first region I'd be looking at against ETH Bitcoin. XRP definitely already got a head start for sure on its big break, on its 7-year pennant that it broke out of. So not disagreeing with that. But I think based on how oversold it is versus Bitcoin, we'll look at Pulse Chain here in a minute, man. I do think a lot of those core assets are bottomed out. Yes, I do. We'll take a look at Pulse Chain for sure after this. All right. But Pulse Chain is actually sort of reliant on ETH making a move, right? So you kind of also want to look at ETH as a gauge too for Pulse Chain, right? So this looks pretty good. It's not making new lows, just going sideways here. You know, ETH hasn't really picked up the steam it needs yet to start outperforming Bitcoin. I think that's around the corner. Maybe, like I said, maybe in the next month or two here, we could probably start to see that happen, that rotation. All right. I think as Bitcoin maybe goes into further price discovery on a confirmation candle, not just like a wick like we had the other day, I think that's when we'll start to see that rotation happen. We'll see. I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. I have no problem being open and transparent about when I'm wrong. It's really difficult to time these things and really talk about them. I'm just looking at a chart just like anybody else, just given the data that I have and try to give an estimate. That's it. When moon? Looks like pretty soon, man. Looks like pretty soon. Right, we got the 3 week cross here, bullish cross. Yeah, you really want to start to see this kind of build momentum against Bitcoin. That's the key. I think we're not too far out. Not too far out. This is very overdone here. Still in the buy zone against Bitcoin for sure. All right. Cool. We'll take a look at Pulse Chain and whatever other assets you guys want to look at. So Pulse Chain down here looks like it's holding the bottom of its range. You know, you're putting in that higher low right here. Yeah, we'll look at Strax. All right, we got a weekly bullish engulfing candle. So you got what looks like a double bottom happening here on the weekly time frame. Okay. You want to break this neckline now. That is the key. All right. So the neckline break here is around that 41 to 4,200 region. And that would actually probably be a break of the major structure here for Pulse Chain. And yeah, I mean, just based off this chart, the double bottom is is about a measured move of 136% on a break of this neckline. And so that puts you right around 0001. But you can see it's kind of like a falling wedge structure. Ultimately, what could happen is it resolves to the top of the wedge, which from here is about a 10x. Okay. So that is definitely plausible. That would be the top of the range for pulse chain. Okay. All right. We'll look at Strax for Rashi here. And all right. Yeah, man. So holding the bottom of the range. We talked about this, I think, last week. Not much really changed on this chart. Definitely pulsable. Nice. That was a good one. Yeah. So again, just with this asset, you just need to start breaking above 6.6 to get to the top of this range here. Once you start making closes above 10 cents, we can talk about the range high up here at 17 cents. So this thing's got some work to do. You have the divergence. We were talking about it. It's there. The weekly stochastic just crossed up. That's a good sign. That's going to give you momentum here for sure to swing back higher here. Looks good. I got nothing bad to say about it. It's just been range bound since July of 24. Oh, cool. You might as well look at the futures market too. Let's take a look at that. So futures down about 1/3%. Not a big deal. We could get something like this, like a retest. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now, S&P. So yeah, we could get this retest of this all-time high break. Why not? We're not overbought on the weekly time frame, but I think the 2 and 3 day charts are extended. Yeah. So your 2-day chart here, tagged overbought, and that could definitely be a drawdown in place. A retest of 6150s. Hold this and kind of go higher, right? I mean, the weekly time frame still looks good. It's really all about this really high time frame that I've been looking at is the quarterly. All right, this quarterly candle was a massive candle. Big recovery candle, right? It's like the massive hammer candle. That's pretty amazing candle. Yeah. Pull back here, definitely in the cards. All right. 2-day RSI overbought. Get out of overbought territory, reset this back to bullish. Maybe get a couple percentage point drawdown here. We could revisit, like I said, 6150s. We could even get a deeper retrace to, the 6,000 region, like a 5% drawdown. I think that's probably in the cards. This range here could be retested. Okay. So something like this, make a higher low and then go. That is definitely a possibility. I wouldn't rule that out at all. Okay. Let's see. NASDAQ probably the same. Actually, yeah, NASDAQ probably the same thing. Here is the S&P. EOSE. Let's take a look at it. Energy sector. Yeah, energy sector is looking pretty juicy right now. Okay. Well, you got a nice range here you're consolidating in. These are monthly candles, by the way. So, okay. I see you, Flap. Not the biggest edge on this chart, but yeah, I mean, You could trade this range for sure. Okay. You don't want to see high time frame candles below 368 or even below the super trend at 270. And that's like a 50% drawdown. But one test, two test, higher low. So you can see that the assets being accumulated there. And on this next push, you could get the break. All right. You get your weekly here is looking pretty good, man. You got a weekly cross up here. That's probably going to catalyze a breakout move here in the coming weeks. So long as you don't keep kind of rejecting or maybe make a lower high here. Okay. But that weekly momentum should be able to push you through. That looks pretty good. I had a couple other energy stocks I was looking at, by the way, if you guys really care to see. I was looking at, where is it here? Okay, nice. I think actually I was looking at a semiconductor. So I was looking at. I have to find the ticker. I think I gave it in the Discord. Let me make sure. What do I do here? Yeah, run. It's called Run. Run! The stock is gonna run. Sunrun. Okay. Yeah, big close on Friday, up 16.8%. But look, zoom out on this chart for a second. Look where you're at. So I still see value here on this asset. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Look at that volume coming in there on Friday. The monthly stochastic reset, monthly clipping. Yeah, this is looking pretty strong. The uranium, I think the whole energy sector is pretty bottomed out. They all, a lot of this stuff looks good for longer term swing trades. This stock right here looks pretty juicy, I would say too. All right. Nice descending broadening formation. That looks really nice. Yeah, your swing target is back to the all-time high. That's a 7x trade. That's pretty great. Pretty great for a stock. $2.4 billion market cap, so it's not just some, S coin or S stock, if you will. SLI was another one. We've been talking about this for a long time. We were talking about down here in the dollar range last year, just consolidated for over a year. Put in a nice bottom, nice accumulation structure there. Again, I think you swing this back to ATH. I just don't see why that wouldn't eventually get there with this kind of monthly. Look at the squeeze that's about to break. That's you're basically back here from like May of 2020 before this thing went on a major run, like back here, if you will. All right, before something like this. So I think it's similar in structure. Okay. And there was a little bit more consolidation here than there was here. So I think because you had more consolidation, there is probably going to be an explosive type of move. I don't know that it's going to go all the way up here, but I'm just giving you a visual representation as to what it looks very similar. Okay. Long-term channel, maybe break and back test and then run again type of thing. Okay. Very nice structure on this asset. There is plenty of things to trade other than crypto, guys. Okay. In fact, I would say that crypto is really slow right now and boring. TradFi has been crushing it for sure. So if you have any tickers in the uranium sector, let me know. Shoot them in the chat. RDW space stock. Okay, take a look at it. Red wire. I mean, I'm sure this will go up. I just don't see a real big edge on this chart. I don't see really a big edge on this at all, actually. In fact, what I don't like on this is this a high or low, a low or high. All right, I get it. This could be a high or low. I just don't like this stuff happening right here. Okay, I wouldn't want to own this stock up here right now, personally. I mean, if you're talking about down in this consolidation range, somewhere in here, then I think that's fine. That's a lot lower risk. All right. I'm not saying that this won't go up. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I don't necessarily like what it's doing here. This long wick monthly candle like that. Not the best candle closes. So you got to retest this region. Not the best. We covered tether dominance too. We looked at NASDAQ. We didn't look at oil or gold yet, but we'll take a look at it. UEC, Uranium Energy Corp. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're coming out of this massive consolidation. You're at range highs. Got a monthly cross. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that this is probably going to go a lot higher. Compare the 20-year to the 10-year. I don't know that we really need to do that, but okay, we can. I think what really matters the most for risk assets is the dollar index, right? So the dollar index, rising wedge, kind of had a fake out breakout here on the rates that were ripping out. That was actually the bottom of the market. And then we made our second low here, higher low, and we're about to break that monthly super trend short. I do think that it's possible that we get down to these, 89 and 90 regions here, and that'd probably be the top of the market. And that might happen by the end of this year, I think. Right, because your quarterly still has room to run down here. It's not like the quarterly chart's oversold, So, yeah. 6-month chart looks really, really, really bad, really bearish, right? 6-month squeeze short on the dollar. Yeah, this is going to get wrecked. Okay, so major swing low here is this 89 region I'm looking at, this 89 and 90 region, I think, for the dollar index. And that's basically all you need to know. Just being in risk assets is where you want to be right now. That's it. They're about to print like $4 or $5 trillion. So like what I want to look at is also this. This is the Fed balance sheet. And so the Fed balance sheet is, they haven't started doing anything yet, but once they do, man, it's gonna be like fireworks. All these markets, you can see the buy signal that just came in on the 2-week. So Fed balance sheet number is about to go up. The U.S. recession is real. You know what's funny about that is everyone keeps talking about a recession, right? I'm going to go ahead and say that everyone's going to be wrong about when they project that to have happen, because if they're going to start printing all this money again, they're going to actually print us out of another recession, and we might actually only get like a 6-month recession is what I think might happen. Okay, it'll be a very short window of time where risk assets actually go down a significant amount in a short period of time. It won't be like some long drawn out bear market. It'll be quick because everyone's expecting like a 2-year recession. I don't believe that that's what's going to happen. And the reason why I don't believe that that's what's going to happen is because look at all the metal charts. Look at all the commodity chart. I'm not talking about crypto. Crypto is going to happen fast. Like we're going to get a quick move out, and that's just going to it'll blow off, and that'll be the move. But I think it's possible that we do end up getting some sort of like super cycle type of momentum in the market. Okay, after a 6-month or 8-month reset, I think that we're gonna get a bottom pretty quick after this thing makes a top. It's not just gonna crash for a year, man. It's not going to do that. I just don't believe that that's what's going to happen, especially with all this money printing about to go down. So they're going to blow it out here first and then get these rate cuts. They're going to start printing money. And after they start printing money, we're going to get the crash, right? About 6 months after they start doing that. But then they got all this money. They're going to do what with the money? They're going to buy it up, right? They're not going to let it continue to go down. That's what I think. I mean, I could be way off. Like this might just be worse than 2008. I don't know. I don't think so. I actually just don't think so. I think it'll be quick. We'll probably get like a 6 to 8 month drawdown, something like that. Dude, everyone's in that camp, man. Everyone thinks this is going to be the worst recession ever, depression. I don't think so. We're going to get a recession. Recession just means we get a reset. Because, like, think about it, Toe. You're going to have all this inflation, okay? What are people going to do with their dollars? They're just going to sit in dollars? I don't think so. I don't think so, man. I think people are going to keep their dollars in assets. They're going to take profits. There's going to be you're going to have a cash position. But I still think that I really just don't believe we're going to go into like some massive depression. Not right now. Maybe by like 2030 or something. Okay. Later on. I think later on that happens. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because I think we're going to see the start of hyper Bitcoinization. And this is the start of it. All these major companies are actually, yes, exactly. This is the start for Bitcoin, I think. The real start for major adoption. That's what I'm saying. I don't think Bitcoin is going to just get completely annihilated like that. There's too much in it right now. I think there's a lot in it. The only thing that I will say that's bad is that these ETFs are actually bad for Bitcoin longer term because it's just paper. It's not real. It's not real Bitcoin. And then you got the fractional reserve system that they're using to say that they own Bitcoin when they actually really just don't own it. They own fractions of it. It's bad. That is bad, actually, for Bitcoin. Long term, it's bad. But that's why I'm in Pulse Chain, because that's not the case there. Anywho, We'll see how it all plays out. I agree. It's no longer good from that angle. It's not good. Look at platinum, man. Here it is. Monthly breakout on platinum. Same pattern. It's the same setup as 2000 here. This was the 2000 crash. It just reset, retested, and then gone. Now breakout, back test. So that could be like the bubble that bursts or whatever when we eventually get to that. You know, but this could end up going higher before that, and then even higher because of inflation. Right back here, the dollar was worth a bit more in terms of purchasing power. Here, it's not. ILV safe to buy down here. I don't know, man. I think I lost interest in that coin after it ended up breaking that range low. And dude, I don't know, bro. Safe? I don't know. None of these assets are safe. Is it wrecked? Yeah, it's wrecked. I would wait for this to maybe reclaim $11, dude. Like, what happens if it just continues to make new lows? You know, like there's no real structure on this thing and doesn't look very good. Really. Doesn't look good. There's definitely better things you can be buying. In crypto land, that is, anyway. Like some of the, I don't know, pulse chain stuff. Like Ink token. This is holding its range very nicely down here. It's in a pretty massive weekly squeeze and clipping long here. Like, so like this is something that this looks decent, right? You put a low in and you're just consolidating above this low. And you didn't take out your swing low at 40 cents, you know, so you're actually making higher lows than your major range low. So that could be construed as maybe a high time frame double bottom, okay? And look at the volume. It's receding. So you're getting really close to maybe breaking this channel here. So pay attention. This might actually end up breaking its channel on high volume. And yeah, you could be looking at a swing back up to like $8, $9 on this coin. Okay? That looks pretty good. You know, pulse chains die. This thing went to zero and back up like a massive recovery. That's it's up 63x from that wick low, man. Can you imagine buying that wick low? Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Yeah. I'm sure there's other assets that look good right now. You know, gain on base looks pretty good. Right, nice step up here. There's some coins that look decent. SEI still looks okay, I think. You know, you got this, back test here. Still bullish engulfing candle on the weekly time frame. You know, double bottom break. You broke on the weekly, and you're back testing the neckline. So this is actually probably a very good re-entry on SEI. Okay. Wrap Bitcoin doing pretty well. Beautiful long-term channel up. You know, nice step up here, broke the range, probably going to come down to back test it. So, you know, wait for that back test if you want to pick up a position on something like this. Yeah, your daily 2-day overbought here. Okay, great. Let's get a reset, make a higher low somewhere. You know, maybe we come down to tag, 450s. Yeah, dude. Yeah, bro. That's what I'm trying to say, bro. Like this chain here is definitely outperforming the market in general, you know. So Pulse X actually looks pretty good right here, you know. Nice double bottom right here. Major pennant on this asset. This is a major market cap. This is Pulse Chain's DEX, Pulse X. Okay, yeah, it's a bigger market cap. It's a $3 billion valuation market cap. But you're looking at a 763% measured move on a breakout. Okay. If this breaks out, man, watch out, dude. That's a big move for an asset that's a $3 billion valuation right now. Down here, it's a $3 billion valuation. Man, if these cores start to really rip on Pulse Chain, like, forget about it. What do you think Wrap Bitcoin does? Or like PDI? Crazy stuff. Atropa, 13 cents. This thing is already almost at its all-time high. I mean, come on. Talk about a performing asset on Pulse Chain right now. This has got to be the one that's performing like the best. From that wick low, it's up. What is that? 365x? It's insane. Toe, man, whatever. You do whatever you want, you know. Told you that this stuff is in full recovery mode after this capitulation event. And these high time frames are extremely bullish, okay? It's not something that should be ignored. I mean, look at the 2-week chart on PDI. Does this look like it's done, man? Does this look like it's done? This looks like it's going to go and do this. Okay, maybe it gets up there and tags that, and then it's done. But that's like months out, man. That could be going into Q4. What is that going to look like on the price? That could look like something like this. That could look like something like this to 20 cents. I'm not talking about these things pegging, bro, because like I don't care if it, I mean, like, great if it does. That's a statement if it does. But if it doesn't, it doesn't matter. It's going to make some major move. Anyways, you guys get the point. There's a lot of other assets, I'm sure, that look really bullish or really good, but I think, like, does AVAX look that good, man? No. Do some of these other assets look this good? I really don't see it right now. I don't really see it. H-bar looks good, like decent, right? H-bar here, nice flag pattern. Like, this is a nice bullish structure. Yeah, H-bar looks good. Okay. Weekly crossing up, very nice. H-bar looks good. Nice flag pattern here. XRP probably looks good. Take a look at XRP. This is just consolidating up here. It's in a pennant. Yeah, XRP looks good. Very nice. Nice cross up here on the weekly. Nothing bad to say about this chart. Okay. These blue chips look decent. Solana doesn't really look as good as XRP, I would say. But yeah, Solana kind of making higher lows here. It's trying to start to reaccumulate. I would say XRP looks better than Solana right now, truthfully. Hex on Pulse Chain here with the double bottom. I mean, this is just, if this thing goes, man, it's gonna just be crazy. Look at the weekly squeeze on this thing. It looks insane, is what it looks like if this breaks out. This is a massive descending broadening formation that is pointing to some ridiculous valuation. Yeah, 50 cents would be the swing target if you end up breaking the structure. Didn't break out yet, but it looks like it's about to do it next couple weeks, maybe next month. Look at this. Look at the RSI. It's just coiled up here. You can see the coiling happening, okay? You're very close to an RSI break on a 2-week time frame. Man, kudos to the people that have been accumulating down here. I don't personally own it, but like I own some of the other Pulse Chain assets. But this might be one worth taking a stab at, okay? It's a core asset. And it's in a massive squeeze. That's insane, okay? Yeah, it looks nuts. Absolutely looks nuts. All right. So, Toe, you could just buy some of this. Not financial advice. And you just sit on it, dude. You don't sell it down here. You know? I don't know. It's up to you, dude. It's not, none of this is financial advice. I'm just looking at a chart. This may not do anything, but to me, all those cores look ready to rock. You got a Tropa leading the way for Pulse Chain right now. I would say it's definitely it's the biggest LP on Pulse X, man. It's the biggest LP. Atropa and PDI are the biggest LP on the DEX right now. I'm not making this up. Here you go. Pools. Public information. I'm not just spewing nonsense here. I'm not trying to get you guys into Pulse Chain either. I just really like these charts, and I really like how the price action is on this chain. And the other thing is that I like about it is that they're not on centralized exchanges being manipulated by market makers. Okay, they have their own market maker. I don't know why this isn't populating, but yeah. Cool. Well, this will pop up soon. I don't know why it's not, but it's taking its time to load it. Pools. All right, whatever. We'll get back to that. The other token that I actually really like here is the Fed token. So this token will run. So just like the Fed and the real Fed, they regulate inflation and interest rates. This token is responsible for doing that for the Atropa system. Okay. And if you look at this chart on a high time frame, it's insane. That's all I have to say. It's a big bull flag here. All right. It went on a major rally. It came back down to this support and bounced pretty heavily today, 30% off the range low. Okay. But since March or April, it's up how much percent? 243,000%. That's insane. I mean, I get it. It's really low liquidity. It was probably really, really low liquidity down there as well. And you probably were not really able to take a lot of risk, but that's fine. That's 2,400x, man. Even if you put $100 in down here, that's a $240,000 position today, roughly. Okay, so that's insane. And I don't think that this thing is done either. Like, look at the weekly time frame on this. In fact, I think that this is actually just starting. Your weekly RSI is a 27. It's insane. This coin's insane. All right. Anyways, this hasn't broke the flag yet. This could continue its correction as well. I'm not saying that it's not going to continue down, but yeah, let's see how this pans out. I think maybe you just flag and flag here. Eventually what happens is you end up breaking the flag. that's just this liquidity pool. You know, there's many other liquidity pools for the Fed token. And, you know, if you really want to know what's going on, the guy who's market making the whole system here is sitting on, I don't know, $2.2 million of Fed token. So it's in his best interest to build these liquidity pools up. All right. Yeah. So I'm basically just paying attention to what this guy's doing because this guy's the market maker on Pulse Chain, pretty much. He's the guy. All right. I think enough about Pulse Chain here, but you guys get the point. These charts are extremely bullish. There's definitely gains to be had here. All right. We haven't even really started any sort of anything in this market yet. ETH is not outperforming Bitcoin right now. Altseason hasn't started. And these coins are already front running all that stuff. So to me, that's extremely bullish. Like, what happens once we're in the environment where all coins are really rallying? What is this stuff going to be doing? You know what I mean? Anyways, you guys get the point. Just food for thought. I do have some positions in this ecosystem, and that's it. I'm just going to be following what's happening here. All right. Let me know if you guys want to look at any other assets tonight. So Fed has 100K here, 157K here, 87K here. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want actually to even roll out of a lot of it because, like, you can't if you picked up a position there in April or May and you put $100 into it. You would have maybe wanted to just accumulate more PDI or something because, I mean, this is still not even loading. That's really annoying. Or maybe I'm just not looking at it. Maybe I'm on the wrong thing. Liquidity, maybe? No, this is my liquidity. Anyways, you can see PDI has 30.6 million in liquidity on PulseX. Yeah. Have a good night, Toe. And have a good night, everybody else. I think we're pretty much done here. Appreciate all you guys tuning into the stream tonight. And hopefully we start a real rally here. That'd be nice to see across the board in these markets. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining. Have a wonderful week, and we'll catch you guys next week.